Let me see. Are we set up correctly?
I don't know.
I think so. I think I just need to get a little closer.
Are we okay?
It's happening, everybody.
Ken says, hello to the first Friday live of 2025.
It's 2025. Can you believe it? I can, because it was bound to happen.
This is what, Sandy, you're so right. It's a great way to start. We're already 3 minutes late.
Don't say we. I've been in here going like, she's a big girl. When the clock hits the time, she's going to know to come in here. 10:03.
I'm so behind on emails, and we're doing the class soon.
Yeah, we got a class coming up next week. A lot of prep for that. It's first time having students.
Yeah.
And now's not the time to do your hair.
Yeah.
You got to go short, like me.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot, like one way or the other.
Hey, welcome. It's the Woodworking Morning Show. I'm Nicole.
Mark.
And
we're a little discombobulated, post-vacation.
I injured my back. I
did.
don't know how.
I know how.
How did I? I just walked.
You're over 40 and you exist. That's how. So you guys, you know our cat, right? Oreo? He actually had a little sleepover at our house. I wanted to show you.
Did.
This is where he spent a lot of his time.
Yep.
He was up there on the shelf looking out the window. That's in the basement. And unfortunately,
he spent most of his time in the basement.
Yeah, unfortunately, in our situation with our dogs and everything at home, he had to stay in the basement.
He was messing with them though.
Yeah, he would come up and the dogs. It was just not a good situation. So
we won't
be doing that again.
Are you? It looked like you're tucked in. You're not tucked.
No, it's folded.
His brother got him that shirt for Christmas.
Yeah, it's perfect. I love it. All right. So what else do we have?
You
know what? I forgot to remind everybody last week.
Last week?
The week before. TWW store is where we sell all of our Wood Whisperer merchandise and stuff. We actually moved to a different platform.
We merged
a lot of stuff. So now backside sandpaper and all of our normal TWW store gear, all that stuff is together and it gets shipped together. So you could save on shipping, and whenever you want to buy your sandpaper, if you want a t-shirt or pencils or whatever.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah, you could all throw it all together.
These wonderful
the hold-fast
sleeves.
Yeah, those are great.
Hey, if you need a planer bracket, we got some planer brackets.
What's a planer bracket? That's hard to explain when I don't have that kind of planer anymore, but it's a nice little shelf that goes on top of a floor standing planer as material support, or like a staging area for your wood, or even another tool can go on top.
Hey, Bobby C.
Bobby C.
You are not wrong.
What's that?
The kids are still off of school. We left them. We're crossing our fingers.
Left them to fend for themselves.
They're not going to eat. They're just in bed. They just
playing video games, doing what kids do on vacation.
Eat some cookies, you know.
It's
going to be a rough start back.
Yeah, everybody's sleep has shifted by at least an hour later, so we have to pull it back.
Yeah, so
we're going to get to some questions today.
We have quite a few questions. Have some. Did I print that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got some questions from Patreon. That's patreon.com/woodwhisperer, or right here on YouTube. There's the members area, and it's a fairly small amount of money, but on a monthly basis, it helps support what we do here, and we always appreciate that.
And questions if you're live, you got a question, like Steve B here has a question.
Stevie B.
I'm gonna star your question, and I'm gonna come back to it.
Yeah,
I promise.
You could ask questions live. Nicole will set those aside, and we'll get to them. Okay. First question here is from Kenneth.
Kenneth!
He says, if you were finishing a cherry coffee table, which sounds like something I might do someday.
Finishing a coffee table?
Or have done in some point
in
the
we
past.
have like 5 coffee tables.
I mean to brag, but we're coffee table rich. And you could possibly, or he says, you could only choose between 2 finishes, Rubio Monocoat Oil Plus 2C, or Osmo Pollux Oil Clear Satin. Which would you go with? Satin finish, fairly durable, no kids around to worry about either. Okay, well, neither of these finishes are what I would call durable. They are good finishes, and they will resist liquids penetrating for the most part, but I would not refer to them as a durable finish. I talk about this all the time. I think it's one of the biggest, I'm not going to call it scams, one of the biggest misconceptions that has happened in woodworking in the last 10 years is that people think that hard wax oil finishes are durable finishes. They're not. There are so many finishes that are way more durable, but these are easy to apply, they're easy to maintain, and they look pretty darn good, and even a novice can get great results. That's why they're so popular. So let's not call them durable, though, because I don't think that's a fair assessment of them.
That's not real.
That's not real. So I would probably, either one is great. Rubio leaves a pretty darn good finish, but I think if you're Osmo, let me tell you the difference that I see. Osmo is going to leave you with what looks a little bit more like a film on the surface. You're actually going to see something. It's not a film. It is the wax, but it's going to look like it's got a little bit more finish on it. The Rubio will not. The Rubio will just look clean and like a true oil finish on top. But as far as protection goes, they're pretty equivalent, honestly. I think for me personally, I'd probably use Osmo. I've been favoring their products a lot lately, but that's just a personal preference thing.
Just want to give some love to the chat. Scott is excited to actually catch us live for the first time in years.
Well, look at you!
Considering we were gone for about 2 years, it's not surprising that it's been years.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to do 2 things I want to do. I want to set goals.
Yeah.
Probably should have talked about this at the top of the show.
It's all right.
I want to set goals for 2025. These are not New Year's.
We got a whiteboard.
We do have a whiteboard,
do
and I'll
it.
promptly erase it because I use it all the time. But goals for the next year, and I think it's an important thing like a distinction between goals and New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Because I think New Year's resolutions are kind of built to be broken.
Kinda, yeah.
I like the idea of setting goals because then you can kind of, I guess you can call them the same thing. Maybe I'm mincing words.
I mean, they kind of.
I feel like like goals invokes that I might actually have a plan to make it happen.
Sure.
A resolution is like, I don't want to eat as much cake this year. It's like, well, that may not happen. But anyway, I want to set goals professionally and personally and write those down. And we're trying to get the kids to do it. And they're real resistant
Oh my God,
about
the
it.
kids are like, what are you talking about?
I don't even know what you mean.
They're
What
like, I want to go to Disneyland. That's my goal.
Their goals are gifts. Ava wants a corgi. Like all the things they didn't get for Christmas are their 2025 goals. But yeah, I want to set some goals.
Yeah.
And how did this relate
You know
to where
what?
we were?
One of my
I lost
goals
what
is,
I was saying.
I don't know, but who cares? I'm full of cheese and cookies.
I had something that tied to what we were doing here, and I lost it because I was making fun of the kids.
We were talking. Well, Scott is here for the first time in years, but anyway, one of my goals is to visit more national parks because this guy gave me a really cool water. What is it? A water
Jug?
I don't know.
A drinky water
holder. But it has all of the state parks on
Yeah.
it. And
It's cute.
when you visit it, you put a sticker on it. So,
I'm going to think of whatever it was I wanted to say.
and I'm such a check mark kind of gal.
Yeah?
I do this thing where if I make a list and then if I do something that's not on my list, I will write it down on my list so I could cross it off.
There you go. It makes you feel good.
I love it. So,
All right, I'm not going to remember what I was going to say,
it's
so
okay.
I'm just going to move on.
We'll move on.
Tom says, strange question. I got wood glue on my pants and shirts. After washing the glue turns brown and it looks like duty. Do you know of any way to remove old glue from clothes? Now, had Nicole been on time this morning, she would have come in here and saw me with my pants off and a heat gun.
Did you really try it?
Yes, and a razor blade, because these particular jeans that I have here, my nice Duluth jeans.
I feel like it could be potentially a fidget for somebody.
Yeah.
Because he's had this piece of glue on his jeans.
Well,
and he just kind of picks at it.
But it was a glue booger. It wasn't just like a glue schmear.
Yeah.
It was a glue booger, and I'm picking at it, and it is like, it's stuck. It's not going anywhere. So we were talking about this yesterday,
Glue
in fact.
Glue Booger would be the name of the show.
It would be.
If we still did that.
Sure. But we were talking about this yesterday, and I'm like, okay, so let's think of ways that you might be able to get something like that out of fabric. And I know when you heat regular wood glue, it does become more pliable, kind of reactivates in a way, but I don't know that will allow you to get it out of fabric because it would kind of just spread and smoosh around.
It was hide glue.
Hide glue is a different story, sure. So I'm just wondering, though, if you heat it, does it ever become soluble again? So that if you hit it with heat and water, could you possibly get it out? The answer to that, at least in terms of this pair of jeans, is no. Mm-hmm. It will become pliable. You'll notice I got the booger off. But there's still schmutz.
But it's not as noticeable.
It's not as noticeable, but it's also on a pair of dark blue jeans.
Yeah,
if we're talking about a t-shirt or something like that, you guys let me know.
Did we have this question? Someone in the guild community asked it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it was a guild. It was during a guild meeting.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So if anybody has some kind of a solution that can actually get the glue out and reactivate it, because The glue, in the way that it bonds with wood fibers, is doing the same thing to clothing fibers, and it wants to stay stuck. So I don't know of anything that would be a surefire way to get it out of there. Typically for me, if I get enough glue stains on a pair of clothes, they're toast once they're done. I don't know how to fix it.
I'm very curious about this person in the chat right now, Yellow Mug Inc.
Oh yeah, we know them.
Do we? Okay, because I was like, I love our national parks. I do too.
Yeah.
Did you make my mug?
All right, so I got another one here from Rich.
Yeah. Oh, before you do that, because we're live, YouTube has this wonderful thing called Super Chat. And if you Super Chat, well, I bump you to the top. So, Scott.
You could bribe Nicole to get your question right to the top of the list.
Thoughts on moxin for lots of dovetails? What's moxin?
Moxin? Moxin for Lotson?
What's a moxin?
It's a vise.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you use one.
Yeah.
I think you just sit in a chair when cutting a bunch of dovetails.
Sit in a chair. No, I hunch over like a self-respecting woodworker. So a moxin vise is a little add-on vise. Think of 2 pieces of wood, 2 screws, 2 handles. It's usually about this long, and it's kind of like a twin screw vise that is portable. And you could put it on top of a workbench. The benefit being it raises it a little bit higher. So if you are cutting dovetails, really you need to bring that up a lot to make it as comfortable as possible. Doesn't mean you can't do it on a regular workbench. That's how I do it all the time. Funny thing, when I built my first Rubo workbench, Benchcrafted just came out with their moxin hardware. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting the regular hardware. Let me get a set of that too, because that looks cool. Everybody's making moxin vices. It's sitting over there, the hardware. It's still in a box. I've never made the moxin vise. Part of the reason is I just don't have a driving need for it, but I do want to make it. I'm also thinking about then, if I really don't use it that much, now I've got to store this thing, and it's not going to be light. It's just 2 pieces of 8-quarter lumber and a bunch of heavy hardware. So I think moxin vices are great. I think in certain applications, I got a good one for you. My buddy Jason, in his shop, 1-car garage shop or 2-car garage shop, he doesn't have a traditional workbench, but he has a work table. So what he's able to do is take the moxin vise, secure it to this table, and then he's able to use that, you know, in the same way that I would use my split top Rubo. And he has good functionality with a nice quality clamp using moxin vise hardware. So it's definitely something that I think works for a lot of people. It's just redundant for the most part. While yes, I know it can raise things up a little bit, I don't usually have a problem.
How much is it?
Oh, it depends. And more than just Benchcrafted sells the hardware now. So and there's also ways you can make a moxin vise just with your own cobbled DIY stuff.
Have you ever made one?
No.
You should do a video on that.
Did you listen to the last answer?
Not really.
Because then I'm going to have to store it and put it somewhere.
Hey, I know you were concerned about the latest video that came out, but Morik11 says he thoroughly enjoyed the behind the scenes video.
Well, good. I'm glad. I was a little nervous about putting that one out because I'm like, who cares? Apparently some people do care.
It's fun. It's fun to see behind the curtain sometimes.
To see what I'm really like. Because I'm not normally like this.
Yeah, you are.
Much worse.
He's just like this.
Okay.
All right.
I think I'm on Rich.
You already did the coffee table?
Yep. Okay, Rich. Everybody, by the way, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Everybody started their question with Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And I didn't want to like read it every time, so I just wanted to say thank you for wishing us a Happy New Year.
Collective Happy New Year.
Rich says, thanks for helping me with my many questions and suggestions on my projects. I'm much further along my journey with your help. Do you deal with snipe or is it non-existent with your higher end tools? Both my planer and drum sander intermittently snipe, sometimes even as the wood exits. My only solution has been to leave extra and trim. Sometimes I'm limited with available length to trim the ends. This is just a classic woodworker problem. I think it's sort of a failure of design because a lot of the planers, the way they work in terms of the pressure feed rollers and when the wood is under 2 rollers versus being under only 1 roller, you're just naturally going to get this snipe sort of activity. There's also, especially in cheaper planers, flex. You know, the unit itself is not quite as secure as, like, let's say my Felder is. Where things might flex and move. So it is a difficult thing to deal with, and most people will do what you're doing. You leave the piece extra long, or you send other pieces with it. So if you have other scrap pieces that you could send in with it, those will tame the pressure feed rollers and keep them in the proper position as your work piece goes through. there's a lot of, and I even wrote an article ages ago on my website when it used to be a blog about how to deal with snipe. And I was really just parroting the advice that I had received. And sometimes that advice, unfortunately, doesn't actually work. Like, I mean, it can for some people, like lifting up on the edge of the board or taking your tables and tilting them up slightly to keep the board up this way. Maybe it works sometimes, but it is not a surefire thing. So yeah, my Felder, I can tell you, does not snipe. When I had my Powermatic floor standing planer, as good as a Powermatic planer is, I still got snipe. And that's why I had a drum sander. One of the reasons why I had a drum sander is my drum sander did not snipe. So I would use the drum sander for those final few passes to clean it up, and I would leave it just a little bit oversized from the planer. The thing is, he said that his drum sander snipes.
I'm making so many grimacing faces because of my lower back, so.
It's not just the sound of my voice doing it, because it does have that impact on some
it's
people.
probably a combination.
But if your drum sander is sniping, I do think you could probably get that to a tuned state that it shouldn't do that, because if that's the case, then it's game over. So like I said, when I had the Powermatic planer, I would use my drum sander to do the cleanup, and that would get rid of the snipe.
Hey, guess who is in the chat?
Beaver Industrial Supply.
Beaver Industrial. Hi, Beaver. I don't think that's actually Beaver. I think it's probably
Harris.
Harris.
It could be the girl that's in all their ads now.
Love your ads now.
Let's do a little pitch for Beaver. Beaver Industrial Supply is a local St. Louis company that we've worked with in the past. Great people there. If you don't follow them on Instagram, you need to.
Yes.
Just go there. There's a delightful girl. I wish I knew her name. I don't think they say what her name is.
She's wonderful. I love it.
It's one of those things that reminds me of like old cable access commercials.
Yes.
Like where they get their daughter to do the ad. And except for it's delightful to watch. She's fantastic. So
and just know we're not making fun. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
I am engaged when I watch her, and it reminds me of there's the woman that was like Mercedes, and she goes around. It gives me that vibe.
Yeah.
And that woman, she's in on it too. So it's just fun to watch.
Everybody's in on the joke.
Yeah, everybody.
And but it's good. And I
love it.
I can't turn my eyes away.
I know, it's wonderful. So, and then Bearded Viking Woodworks. I was actually gonna do this. You didn't have to do the super chat.
Thank you.
But thank you for the super chat. He just wanted to say, Mark, I wanted to say you were an inspiration to why I began woodworking, and just wanted to say thanks.
Well, thanks, man. Man, that's a fabulous beard you got there.
He does have a
He said skull, like a Viking.
Skull.
Man.
He loves Viking.
Look at that beard.
What was the Viking game that you played? Was it Assassin's Creed?
Assassin's Creed.
Valhalla?
Valhalla, yeah.
Valhalla.
Man, I wish, I can't get past the light beard phase.
Yeah.
Right? Like I could probably grow a pretty nice beard, but once it gets a little too, it just gets so itchy, I can't get through that phase.
Well, and when he was younger, his beard looked like he painted it on.
Well,
it was so dark.
I regret that I never grew a full beard before I grayed.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the look of so much gray. And she's like, well, that's because I wouldn't let you. I would start to grow a beard, and she was like, it just looks fake.
It looks like he was wearing a fake beard all the time.
The curse of black hair.
What is going on with that beard?
Yeah, but now that it's gray, she's like, it's fine now.
Hey, speaking of video games, we're playing a group video game almost nightly.
Yeah, Deep Rock Galactic.
Deep Rock Galactic. If you're into like doing co-op, it's a 4-player online co-op, and it's like Minecraft
Super
meets what was that game that had all the bugs and the aliens? I don't know.
They don't care.
They don't care. But anyway, if you're looking for a fun game, we've been
Deep Rock Galactic.
That's been our holiday, and Mateo killing me and Mark every once in a while because he's mad at us.
Yep.
So, do we have more questions?
We do. I didn't preview all.
No,
of
you didn't preview. These came from email that had been sent. That's why we were late. I was going through my email and I was like,
Okay.
So if you want to scan those while I address some of the chat questions,
Sure.
I can do that. All right. So Steve B said, I'm making a floating frame a week after watching your video.
Okay.
But the fibers keep raising up. Is that normal for poplar wood? After spraying it, a light sanding, it was okay.
I mean, I don't know what finish you're using. I would assume
Yeah.
you're using a water-based finish.
If it's water, then it's going to raise.
That's to be expected. What I would usually, you pre-raise the grain with water, sand it down lightly, not a lot. You don't want to get too nuts because then it'll just raise again. So sand it lightly with your 220 or whatever. Hit it with your first coat of finish. Sand it lightly with your 220, maybe even 320 at that point. And then as you sand each layer of finish, eventually you are going to be sanding finish and not wood. So it shouldn't continue to happen. The only reason it would continue to happen is if you're sanding all the finish off and getting back down to bare wood each time, which is not great to do. So as long as you're layering on your finish, eventually you're not sanding wood, so it shouldn't raise.
Bearded woodworker, or Viking woodworker, says beard oil and grooming helps.
I'm sure. I mean, that is a nice beard.
It's a very nice beard.
I mean, I can't do that. I don't have the patience.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't have the face for it
He
either.
even will get impatient with his own hair, and he'll cut his own hair, and I go, did you just cut your hair?
She always knows.
I always know.
You always know.
When he tries to cut his own hair, I'm like, what did you do?
All right. There's no way I could read this. And
I highlighted the question. So from Chad Green.
Okay, let me do my best, because a lot of
Okay.
times if I haven't pre-read the question, I don't even know where it's going, and the chat room can sometimes provide answers.
That's true. That is true.
Jim Wiskus has, he says, I got a beautiful 1946 Walker Turner. I'm assuming this is a table saw. He doesn't say what it is.
What's a Walker Turner?
It's a brand, but I believe that's a table saw. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll look it up.
That I restored and would love to send some pictures.
Well, yeah, because sometimes a Walker Turner is a drill press, bandsaw.
Yeah, they made tools.
Oh, okay.
So it was given to me, and I kind of went over budget with it. I wondered, too, if Mark had any good suggestions as far as perhaps gifting it to a new shop starting out, or at least getting some money back. I have $1,400 in it. I don't think that's a reasonable price for a 1-horsepower table saw, or whatever saw.
Yeah.
So he overdid it
Yeah.
with the refurb.
Yeah.
I don't really have a great answer other than check with your local Woodworkers Association
Yes.
and see if there's anyone in need. If you're in part of a forum, you might be able to find some, I don't know, maybe some teenager that's getting into the craft.
Even a high school.
Yeah?
Like a high school.
If they have a program?
With a program. We gifted one to our local high school at Timberland. Didn't you? What was it?
I don't know.
You gave them.
I give away a lot of tools.
You gave. Was it a planer?
It might have been.
I don't remember.
I give away and I sell.
Yeah.
We push tools out.
We do.
I don't like to hold on to my extra stuff.
But I remember. But that's a reach out to a local high school.
If you're lucky to have a place that actually has a program.
Yeah. We have quite a few programs around here. Every single high school has a woodworking program around here, which is really cool to see.
So if anybody in the chat has a suggestion for how to move a tool like that, or how to even find someone who is worthy of receiving it as a gift, because that's always tricky online these days.
Yeah.
All right.
My suggestion is
Chad, should I be just reading the bold?
Yeah, because he gave you some background about the cyclone.
Speaking of, did you guys hear that
of-
Clearview Cyclones is
Yep.
shutting down? What's
Yep.
up with that? We should do a news segment when there's news.
Yeah. Cyclone, but they're looking for someone.
They're open for someone purchasing.
And we had somebody reach out to us that was like, "Hey, you wanna go in?
We'll go in halvesies?
I'm like, I wish we had the bandwidth to do something like that.
Yeah, I don't have my half.
Yeah.
This is what I don't have.
Maybe you could just be the figurehead and be like,
Yeah.
Clearview Cyclone.
But then this is how it works, though. I've got an Oneida Cyclone.
Yeah.
If I had any kind of like core association with Clearview,
Yeah.
I would have to get another Cyclone and replace that one, which is perfectly good, and it's up there and not down here. I don't want to do that. That's so much work. That is so much work.
So hard.
Okay, so Chad is saying he's seen my video about cyclones in the past. He goes, and I'm going to just read it. I've seen Mark's video about cyclones from the past and how he preferred Clearview in the shootout, which led me to Bill Pence and his I don't know what he's talking about. I don't think I ever did a shootout that I preferred Clearview. Is he talking about maybe the mini cyclone?
I think the mini cyclone.
Separator?
Yeah, I think he's talking about the mini cyclone. Yeah,
Okay.
The separator.
That makes sense. Which led me to Bill Pence and his informative but rabbit hole of a dust collection site. The shortest version of what I think I've learned is that related to wood dust, particles 1 micron to 0.3 microns are the most dangerous to our lungs and bodies, correct? Yeah, I believe that is what the data says. It's usually the stuff that's less than 1 micron is how most people refer to it. So lately I see Harbor Freight with a 1.5 horsepower dust collector, which they advertise a 2 micron dust canister. And Rockler has a 1 micron dust canister for their, let's see, class comparable to Harbor Freight dust collector. Woodcraft has Jet and Powermatic, both are 2 micron. It also seems like there is a lot of discussion on Facebook and other forums about this. Let's see, All that said, my question, am I correct in thinking that if a dust management system doesn't filter down to 0.3 microns, that it may not be worth the cost of effort, time, and money? It should be, or it would be better spent with one that I can afford, something filters down to 0.3 microns. Yes and no. Collecting dust, if you aren't collecting the dust at all, what a mess. And you're kicking up not just small particles, but large particles. It's going to be just such a messy situation. It is always worth it to collect dust. If you have a system where you know that the filter is not doing as low of capture as you want it to, well, that's why we have respirators and air cleaners to clean the air. Anything that escapes that system, you could capture in another way, or just at least, worst case scenario, the least you could do is cover your face. That's your last line of defense. And then you could have, even if you go as crazy as I did, get yourself an air quality meter. The Dylos is the one that I use, and you can kind of see what's going on with the air quality. And you can know when it's safe to take your mask off or to ventilate, things like that. So I think it's always worth it, no matter what the micron size is that the bag or canister captures. But if you can, and it's within your means to just wait a little bit longer to be able to afford a system that will capture those small particles, then I would wait. I don't think it's worth, waiting a couple of months is no big deal. But if you're talking a couple of years, then get a dust collector. Capture as much, keep the shop as clean as possible, vacuum regularly, use your air cleaners, and use a respirator.
Hey, I didn't realize it. Someone in the chat said, "To Bearded Viking Woodworks, I enjoy your videos." He makes videos too.
Oh, very nice.
He's probably going to surpass us in subscribers within a year.
It doesn't take much,
It doesn't
Nicole.
take much. So I'm going to give him some love and share his YouTube channel.
Very nice.
So
Bearded Viking Woodworks.
he has 270 videos already on YouTube. So
dang.
Oh my gosh.
Way to go, man.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
It's an interesting process, isn't it?
Okay, so that's all I have on my questions.
That's all your questions. Well, I have a ton. I have
my work here is done.
I have 20 questions from the chat.
I'm done working. I'm going to go over there and grow my beard. Oh, that would have gone in.
Worth Effort's in the chat.
What's up, dude?
He wants to know if you've ever used one of those following cameras in the shop. Ordered a Pocket Osmo to try a fake. What's a following camera?
You've never seen those?
Well, I've seen
There's webcams. There's all kinds of cameras with motion detection.
The only time I've seen it, I think it was Neil Patrick Harris was doing an ad for Amazon something, and it was following him. And he was doing a cooking thing with his kids, and it was following him around. That's the only thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I've never really used one in the shop. I have a thing called, I believe it's called Raven Eye, that's part of the Osmo. Osmo. Is it Osmo?
That's what he said, Osmo.
Yeah, DJI Osmo, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the gimbal system that I have. I haven't found a whole lot of use for it. I mean, part of the problem is it isn't that often that I'm moving, right? I'm usually talking and presenting. We keep people interested with things like B-roll.
You talk?
Right?
You talk?
I do talk sometimes. We keep people engaged with the video using B-roll and changing camera angles. There's very, very seldom me moving around is the thing I want people to follow, right? Because you imagine if I'm just doing a little discussion here and I'm moving over here, why am I moving? Sit still, finish what you're saying, and then show the work.
Because
I think for our style of video production, I don't know that it really adds a whole lot. Now, that said, you might come up with a way to use it that's super cool and engaging and fun. It also just might be fun for you to play with it. I know I have gear that I barely even use, but it's super fun to play with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if you had a cameraman, you have to ask yourself, how often would you have a moving shot?
Well,
I did a walk-in
movement. People there's a whole study with why Cocomelon is so attractive to children is because it's cut scenes every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily good.
No.
But
Do you think he wants to attract children to his videos?
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we as humans stay more focused when things are moving, things are cutting, things are changing. Well, that's why the one guy that does his videos where he's talking to his camera, he's like, come here. And he goes closer. Yeah. Like, that's engaging kind of stuff.
But what I think, if you're doing instruction, and I know that's what he does, he's a teacher. When you're doing instruction, having a cameraman is useful to look at the action. But those cameras are typically set up to follow you, not necessarily the details in your hands, right? So it's like, how often are you doing a walk and talk? Yeah. Not that often. But I would like a cameraman.
We would trip.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind a cameraman if I had a camera that I could trigger to go look at something when I want it to. So I'm talking to you, but then I want you to look at what's on my bench. That'd be nice, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Apo made me laugh. Tattoo woodworkers are so 2024. This is the year of the beards.
Hasn't it been the year of the beards and the tattooed woodworker for like the last 10 years? And the trucker ball cap, right? Yeah. I think we're well matured into whatever that phase is or was.
Tristan said, he goes, I follow Beaver Industries Supplies on Instagram because of your recommendation, and they followed back.
They're great. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah. So, got a question here. Hey, Ness is in the chat.
Ness. Good
Hello.
day.
Good
How
day.
You doing? So
Happy
good to
New
see
Year
you.
to you too.
I've missed seeing Ness's icon.
I know, me too.
Her avatar.
Love Ness. We love Ness. A super chat from Mr. King 33. Thank you, Mr. King 33.
Mr. King.
I don't know if you have a question, but if
Mr.
you do.
K King.
Oh, Mr. K King.
Yeah.
I will keep my eye out.
Thank you.
If you do have
Appreciate
a question, I'll bump you up. Liquid Rocks.
Liquid Rock Aquatics.
What was a rock? Yeah.
Rockin' Stone.
Rockin' Stone. Does anyone know if wood glue will cure in near freezing temperatures? No.
I mean, it might, but it isn't going to be a bond that you want in your work. Yeah. Each of those glues has a low-end working temperature. What will happen if you don't follow that, if you get colder, I've actually seen this happen on my projects when I've pushed the limit a little bit too much, it kind of turns into sort of like a powdery material, so you don't get the bond that you think you're getting. It's just not going to happen. So that's why people will put like heat blankets on their work, or sometimes glue it up, and if it's small enough, carry it into the house or something like that. If it's a garage workshop, you need those higher temperatures, or it's just not going to chemically do what it's supposed to do in that bonding process.
Hey, Janine.
Janine, what's up?
She said, you can make the Mox and Vice as a tutorial and then give it away. Wink, wink.
Janine, you're making me work.
She wasn't the only one that said that, by the way. There was at least 4 others that was like, you can give it away.
Yeah, I suppose we could.
Yeah, we could.
I guess we could do that.
You want to come to the shop, Janine? Pick up a Mox and Vice.
Let's give it away.
Give it away now. Alexander, what is the one project that you gained the most confidence on? I think I know the answer to this. The Blacker House chair.
Not really.
That was your first chair.
Yeah, but the Blacker House chair, in the context of a class, turns you into a line machine worker in a way. Yeah. To do a course that complex I think it was a 10-day course. It was a long one, right?
It did seem like you were gone for a while.
Yeah, I think it was a 10-day course. But even then, you are taking your workpiece, you're putting it on a sled, you're running it through, you take that back to your bench. Next person comes along, they run it through. Everything's kind of pre-set up for you. It almost felt kit-like. So I wouldn't say that one. I would say probably the sculpted rocker.
Yeah.
That was one where I was following instructions to do it, but I was also building instructions as I was going. And that taught me a whole lot about the process. Certainly a confidence builder.
So through the years, Mark has gone on a number of projects, and he always gets to a point, usually somewhere right in the middle of the project, where he's like, I can't do this, I'm not going to be able to. Like and it's actually kind of fun to watch because of your tenacity in how you kind of navigate. But I remember the sculpted rocket one being a really, I was like, it's okay.
Well, and there's also a real danger in building something for the first time. Now, I know I can do it, but I'm building it for the first time and then trying to design a course around it.
I almost think it's good because the person that's building it for the first time too is...
Well, I think that's what makes the videos in the Guild that relatable, is a lot of times the struggles of building something the first time. Once you build it 30 times, you kind of have it all down, and you have a way of making everything look easier than it is.
Like Tim Fuller has like 20
once you have a bunch under your belt. But in my case, it was the first time I was doing it, and we designed, I think, one of the best courses on how to actually build a sculpted rocker as a result, because I was struggling as I went.
Hey, I worked on something over the break. I like the testimonial type stuff.
Yeah.
When I, like with Amazon, you kind of read the reviews, you want to see, and I realized we don't have really anything like that for the Guild, for let our members kind of say their experiences. Now, not everything is perfect for everyone, so I'm sure eventually I'll get some, not 5 stars, but that's okay. But I made this wall of love that I'm going to share in the chat room. And it is...
Do you have a wall of like for when it doesn't come?
I know, the wall of like. Right now, this is the wall of love. So if you're curious about Guild Plus and the Guild and what it's about, I know we've had a lot of people say to us, oh, I'm not ready for that. I beg to differ. Especially, I was just talking to Mark this morning about how many other people are kind of getting into the same space.
With courses?
With courses, or like they're woodworkers selling their woodworking business knowledge, and it's getting crowded. So
that's my favorite thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Like selling the information for how to create a successful woodworking business and learning it from someone who clearly does not have a successful woodworking business.
Well, they say they do.
Well, they say they do.
Yeah.
I could say anything.
I could say anything.
I could say that
That's the problem. You can say anything now, and you just don't know.
The worst part of the problem is it's not that you could just say anything, it's that people will believe you.
Yeah.
Because people have been BSing other people forever.
Yeah.
But there are so many people who just don't see through the bull crap and fall for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't get us started on this topic.
Don't get us started. But anyway, check out the link. Thank you to everyone that has sent in a testimonial.
Tommaso has the perfect name for when we get lower than 5 stars. Yeah. The alcove of mediocrity. That is perfect. Thank you, Tommaso.
Thank you, Tommaso.
Good idea.
Oh, Apo Apina is here. Where have you been? I haven't seen you since last year.
Yeah, no. It's a whole, 3 days?
Yeah. Tristan wants to know, are you excited to teach students?
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm actually really excited.
See, the thing is, a lot of people, they hear that I don't like to travel, and they think that it means I don't like to teach classes. I love teaching classes. I just don't love the prep and the travel time and just the travel experience. So the idea of being able to teach something I'm comfortable with here in my own shop is very exciting.
The workbenches are coming along. Those look great.
Yeah, so we're going to have all the workbenches set up.
Yeah.
In fact, that's all we're doing this week is prep for the class. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
I'm going to be, so the first group of students come in probably Thursday, hopefully before all the snow hits. Well, this should be interesting because we're like, oh, it's always mild in January.
Yeah, well,
but I'm going to be, if you are part of that January class, I'll be reaching out to you shortly because I have a whole itinerary. Mark's mom has prepared the menu. We have a bunch of yummy food. I'm cooking.
I'm making pulled pork.
Yep. So you're going to have Mark's barbecue. And then in February, we've got another class. And then March, we have another class. So those are we're just kind of starting.
I'm a little bit worried about video content, though, over the next 3 months. It's going to be tricky.
Well, we're not going to be able to do Friday Live.
Well, whenever there's a class.
There's a class. I mean, I guess we could turn it on and you guys
We'll just do the show and let them work.
And then let them work.
That'd be weird.
That would be weird. A live audience. Let's see. Did we do Liquid Rock about the tung oil?
No.
Tung oil, beeswax, what is it? Carbonaro?
Carnauba wax. Would you use all 3 to make a paste wax or just carnauba? Honestly, man, you can use whatever. I think all of those are kind of fun waxes. Generally, when I make a oil wax finish, I do like to have both beeswax and carnauba in there. The carnauba, I believe, is a little bit harder. The beeswax, I think, just is a little easier to work with. But why not have some fun with it? Make a couple different concoctions and see if you could even spot a difference between them. Most of the time, it's like how much total wax content versus oil content that makes the biggest difference in the consistency of what you're left with once it cools to room temperature. But have fun with all of it. And then, yeah, you could definitely use those waxes in conjunction with mineral oil to make a food-safe type of paste that people can put on cutting boards or kitchen utensils.
John Riggs finished his sculpted rocker in September after buying the project 8 years ago.
Takes some people a little bit of time.
It's okay.
It's a big project.
It's a huge project. You did a great job, and I agree. It was
Thanks,
a great
John.
So,
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Got a question here from Dean. We've answered this before, but wait, no. LED cured? What's LED?
Yeah, we've talked about that.
I thought it was UV. Are those the same thing?
LED is creating the UV.
Oh.
It's a light source.
Okay.
I think we have talked about that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go into
good in a small space, questionable in a large space.
Well, yeah, I guess the thing is, when we hear, this is not new, right? There's been LED cured finishes or UV cured finishes for a long time. Getting them into the hobbyist market is the trick. And as much as I hear people asking questions about it, and I hear certain people promoting it, I don't hear many people raving about it after they've been using it, because it can be a little bit finicky. There's something that happens with that reaction that can actually cause, and I don't know whether it's like too much UV, that can cause what was a perfectly smooth finish to have these little spots in it where you could feel a little bit of grit or something that you have to then sand back down and decide what you're going to do. Are you going to apply another coat, or are you just going to rub it in and then hope that it disappears? So I have used some of this stuff a couple years ago. Our Morley bar stools that I made were done with that. Mm-hmm. It was a decent finish. I liked it. The problem was I couldn't get the knack of how to get it perfect. That curing process would always cause little, whether it was an air bubble that kind of burst. The bottom line is there's a learning curve. It's not as dummy proof as it would seem, but I do think there's value in that kind of finish. It's just questionable whether we're going to see hobbyist woodworkers all there with their dark sunglasses UVing their projects. Because it's going to speed things up for them. Yeah. So I'm still on the fence as to whether it's a good thing to recommend for hobbyist woodworkers, and whether, again, everybody who bought in always tells me there's a big learning curve to get it exactly right. Mm-hmm. But it is cool, and I do like it. I just have to wrap my brain around how we would present this to hobbyist small shop woodworkers.
Just to let you know, our son has infiltrated the chat. He wants to know, what is your opinion on wood?
You know my opinion, son.
Hi, Mateo.
What are you doing?
I'm sure he's on his computer.
He's on his computer?
Yeah, he's
okay.
on his computer.
Did you eat breakfast?
Did you eat breakfast? Did you take your meds?
Did you take your medicine? Okay. Parenting on the fly.
Alexander said, are you ever going to do a small class? Where would it be worth traveling over a couple of days and learning in the shop? Here.
Are you ever going to do a small class?
We're doing small classes here.
Oh, yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's what we had a...
We're doing one class each month for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
There are only 5 students per class, and that's, I think, exactly what you're describing.
Food is included. We're in Wentzville, Missouri, so right in the middle of Missouri. It's actually a pretty affordable place to stay at, too. Mm-hmm. So there's lots to do. I even have a document that I send.
Like if they bring their family?
Yeah, like stuff to do. There's like the zoo is free here, the science center is free. Like there's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
So if you want, well, I had it set up on the old site. I need to reset it. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, you need to be, because that's when we have a new set of classes get announced. That's going to be one of the places that
they go fast.
They do go fast.
We didn't even announce this to everybody.
No.
We took a select group of people.
The Firehouse
just
founders.
Because we weren't sure what would happen. Yeah, so Firehouse founders that helped us get this place were the ones that got first crack at it, and it went like that.
Yep.
So,
Mr. K. King had a question for that super chat. I would like to know your recommendations for a new router for my router table. It's a router lift, but my router burnt up and I need to replace it.
Well,
you really like that Porter cable one, but they don't make that anymore.
Well, I think, I don't know if they don't make it anymore. I know there was a problem where they were manufacturing it in a different way and it was breaking for people. So either way, I don't think that's going to be my recommendation. If the money is there, have you seen Jessam's like dedicated router that they put in there? So this is one that they came up with a couple years ago now that has some interesting features. So check that out. That is going to be what I'm going to upgrade to fairly soon here, or at least when my Porter cable poops out. But again, yeah, the Porter cable used to be my go-to recommendation. What is it, the 7518 Speedmatic? I think it's 7518. That was a great one. I know a lot of people use a Triton router in their router tables, but if the funds are there, go look at the Jessam and see what they've got, because that motor looks like it's going to be really, really good.
Art for Wood Creations, what are you teaching in each class? Building a stool, right?
Yeah, it's a bar stool, counter height bar stool that hasn't been released yet. I did post pictures of it, but I haven't released the video.
It'll be a guild project?
Yeah, it's a future guild course. And I wanted to do something that I didn't have to teach a new thing each time. So all 3 classes are that project.
Mooney, do not encourage him. Mooney said he's the man of the house right now. He goes, I know, I'm amazing.
Sure.
Okay, Mateo, stop.
Go watch TV.
Go watch TV.
Do something productive.
Go play Helldivers. Sandy said, I purchased the Melbourne Tool Low Angle Jack Plane. Didn't you do a versatility of different planes on a jack plane? I can't find it. Wasn't it a guild meeting?
Yeah, I know there is a guild meeting. So inside the guild archive.
It's probably a guild meeting, Sandy.
Oh, shoot. And I know I did something for Pop Woodworking too, because I did an article.
See, look, stream quality, it does that every once in a while.
We're going to have to start streaming from home. I'm trying to see if I could find this for her. And I don't know that I can. I did something where it was like the 5 hybrid woodworking tools or something about jack planes. I'm trying to find it live, but
ooh.
Yep, that's what happens when you go to the wrong URL. Go to the next question, because I don't have an immediate answer.
Well, if anything, I can email her too. So.
Yep.
It's Jack Baker, super chat.
Thanks, Jack.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Jake. Sorry.
Jake. I wasn't reading, so I just said what you said. Jake Baker.
Jake. Makes me think of 16 Candles.
Does it?
Jake. Jake is one of the main characters.
Okay.
Brian Benham, he's in the chat.
Brian, what's up?
He says, always check their portfolio to see if they walk the walk and not all talk before taking someone's course.
Yep, that's great advice.
That is great advice.
Yeah, I can't find it. Yeah, I know I did, and you're right.
I'll
I did.
Look for it, Sandy.
It's a matter of where the heck is it?
Yeah, that's one of my goals of 2025 is to organize things a little bit better. Mooney wants to know, are the woodpecker squares behind you worth the money?
That's a tough question. Here's the thing. The squares that I like the most, if you have steel, I'm much more likely to say that's a good investment. I don't necessarily love an all aluminum square. I don't think it's very durable. It's going to dent if you drop it. It's just not my favorite way to do it. But if you have something like this where you got a little bit of aluminum here, but you have a steel rule, I really like that. Now, in the case of this one, hold on a second. This big guy, there aren't many companies that make a precision square of this size. So the fact that it's aluminum doesn't bother me because I don't have any other choice. So this one, yes, I do think that's also worth it. Speaking of squares, speaking of Jessam, have you guys seen some of their stuff? They are putting out a lot of measuring and marking
with that
type devices.
The funky stuff on it.
The grippy schmutz.
The grippy schmutz.
They got these, all their rules have this little grippy stuff on there, which is quite nice. And this was the obviously a straight rule, but they now have T-squares and standard squares in all different sizes. I've got some over there, and they're pretty fantastic. So yes, in some cases with an asterisk, these kind of fancy squares can be worth it. But ultimately, if we're looking to save money and you need a set of small squares, just get a set of engineer squares. They're going to be so much more bang for the buck.
Doug wants to know when your undersaw cabinet will come out.
I don't know. Soon.
2025.
Our editor is like snowed under with
really
a
is.
guild project that had so many things going on, and it's taken all of his time. Once that's released, then we'll go to my guild projects. But it's we're in a position where we have a serious backlog.
We have plethora, a plethora.
But maybe with the classes, and I won't be filming as much in the next 3 months, will be an opportunity for Todd to catch up.
Man, you guys are full of questions today. Everybody, not to mention, we have almost 400 people in the chat.
What? You guys are all home from work?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Mike wants to know, what finish would you use on stairs that isn't slippery? Carpet.
I don't know.
Carpet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what finish isn't slippery? Unless it's a
Yeah.
finish that has some grit put in it, which I don't know that you want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't finish stairs, but I do know anytime that I've seen a DIY finished set of stairs, like in a house flip, or like my brother's house that he bought,
Yep.
it is pretty treacherous.
It was scary.
So
we ended up buying these Amazon strips to put down.
Yeah.
Like carpet pads almost.
So yeah, I mean, I wonder if there's a finish that just has a particular quality that still looks good, and you get the kind of sheen that you want, but doesn't have a slippery nature to it. Does that exist? Chat, let me know. Let me know your thoughts.
We have a lot of people from other countries. We got the Netherlands.
Nice.
We also have, where's he at? Where's O'Brien? There he is. Ireland.
Oh,
so
very cool.
Hey, I would love to come to Ireland.
You want Joe to fund it?
Can you
hook us up?
Can you hook us up?
You know someone in Ireland.
You got a place for us to stay?
Jeez. Not too proud to beg.
It's never going to happen. I want to go to Italy.
There's a lot of things I want that aren't going to happen.
Hey, where'd you get that dope shirt from?
This was a Christmas gift.
It was. So we have a farmer's market in Lake St. Louis, and they were a vendor there, and they had these great shirts, and they gave me their card, and I'll look for it. So, but yeah, they had a ton of funny. They had another one, but they didn't have your size.
Oh.
So I was gonna buy it, but then I forgot.
It's cute.
Yeah, it is fun. Danny wants to know. Oh, he was the winner from last Friday. Well, not last Friday.
Okay, congrats.
So I don't think I got your email. My email is Nicole, Nicole, at thewoodwhisperer. Make sure you spell that right.
ERER, thewoodwhisperer.com.
So, because I believe, here's the other thing. I've gotten emails like, hey, I won. I was like, okay, you need to pick your course. And then
you don't hear back.
And then I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to randomly assign you a course. So, Danny, go ahead and send me that email and I'll get you hooked up. The holidays are definitely a busy time. David D! If you're open to a new game, have you heard of this game?
Mm-mm.
Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is great. Like WoW Classic, but a little bit more challenging, beginner focus.
I'll have to look into that.
I'm going to have to look into that right now.
Oh, I'm always into a new game.
Yeah, we're kind of on a hunt for a new game too. Let's see. Grant wants to know, would you recommend Rubio Monocoat for a dining table?
Yeah, as long as you know what you're getting into. This goes back to earlier in the show. If you want to scrub back to when I answered a question about which thing I would choose for a coffee table, the same answer applies. So yes, absolutely. Will it be the most durable finish in the world? No,
Nope.
It will not.
But you can repair it very easily.
Yeah.
So, got a question here from, did we ever do, I already did that one. Did that one. And then Bill says, what is a durable finish?
Polyurethane, varnishes, like a catalyzed lacquer, 2K finishes, your two-part finishes generally are more durable. Conversion varnish. There are extremely durable finishes out there.
Caustic.
You could talk to somebody, Brian is in the chat room. There's a guy who's putting his work in commercial spaces. He's not going to be using hard wax oil for that because he doesn't want to get the call back a week later when there's stains and dents and everything. So he's going to use something like a conversion varnish on commercial pieces. Same thing with Philip Morley. He uses conversion varnish. So those are your durable finishes, and there's plenty of them out there. It's just when you're a hobbyist and a small shop woodworker, sometimes dealing with these super durable finishes means dealing with a lot more caustic chemicals, and having those in your shop and not having a proper spray booth to apply them is real problematic, or safety gear to apply them. So there's a lot to think about, and that's the reason those other finishes are very popular, because they look beautiful. But let's not call them durable.
I'm going to go on a world tour. We got VDIS in Germany. We have Matthew in the UK.
Germany was one of the only languages, 2 languages that hybrid woodworking was translated to.
Oh, really?
I actually have the German version of that book.
See these cheekbones?
Yep.
German.
See these cheekbones? Wait, do I have cheekbones?
You don't.
I thought I did.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Nice. Oh, thank you, Joe. Did a super chat.
Oh, thanks,
Appreciate
man.
that.
Top of the morning to you. That's what we say in Ireland, right? Kiss the Blarney Stone.
He's probably rolling his eyes at you right now.
Because he's never heard
No, I'm sure.
stupid Americans making jokes.
Dave, can you tell us what type of finish you used on the walls of the T11 behind you?
Yeah.
I build out my shop and I like the look. Did you finish it?
Not all of them.
Oh, okay.
So depending on sheet for sheet, the supplies, sometimes the T111 kind of has a different hue to it. So I've gotten some that were a little bit browner. I've gotten some that were a little bit more yellow. But the bottom line was, when I had the stuff that was yellow, it doesn't need finish. Let's make that perfectly clear. We're not finishing to offer protection. You're finishing it, or at least I finished it, to add color. And in the videos, I just didn't like how yellow it was. It just looked like a pea yellow background. It wasn't something I wanted to have on camera. So yeah, you could see on these, they actually have a little bit of walnut Danish oil is what I used, and I diluted it a little bit so that it wasn't, because again, I didn't care about the amount of finish. I just wanted a little bit of a toning down of the yellows. So it was Wadco Danish oil, probably the medium walnut or medium dark. I don't know what they call it. I think it's walnut. And that worked pretty well. But again, you're not finishing for protection. You're just finishing to apply that color.
Liquid Rock Aquatic says something like a soft wax would work decent on stairs. After it's buffed up, you basically are at the wood again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But Doug agrees with me. Carpet.
Yeah. I mean, anything that would be a good looking finish that has any kind of durability to it feels like it's going to be something that if it got wet would be very slick, or if you're on socks would be very slick. Can you imagine the hard wax oil, which was on our kitchen floor, Osmo, on steps?
How many times did Abby fall?
She
Our dog.
She looked like Bambi, like her legs going out from under her.
She definitely.
It is a slick finish. Yeah. It does die down over time,
it does.
But it takes some time.
Ice Woodworks wants to know any preview info on up-and-coming guild courses this year.
The only previews I can give you are the ones that I've done. That's the under table saw cabinet, which is right behind the camera over here. We also have the Barstool. Yeah, the
we have
Barstools.
Frank Straza's coming out soon.
Yep, we have. His is already available for pre-order. His table.
His table is still available for pre-order. We're going to do a preview party for that soon.
Yeah. So my Barstool is another one, and my mom's coffee bar will probably be there as well. And then we're going to go see Alexis DeLise in Montana. We're going to go film with her.
Oh, we need to.
At the very beginning of summer, and that should be released sometime in 2025. So outside of that, we're kind of planning very lightly at this point because we're too backlogged on content, and hard drives are sitting there with video, and it doesn't do us any good when it's on a hard drive. So we need to get those out.
Yes.
And then once we clear the backlog, then we could start thinking about adding more.
Yeah. Let's see here. Anything else? We're at the top of the hour.
Top of the hour.
Todd wants to know, do you have Tim's down there? If not, do you miss it? Tim Hortons. So no, we do not have Tim Hortons. I've been to Canada. I used to teach there. And I've been to Tim Hortons. Okay. I mean, I know people love, it's kind of like
it's
how
Starbucks,
I feel.
right?
No.
It's not like Starbucks?
No. It's a little like Dunkin'.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's its own thing. Kind of like, what's that Bros
Oh,
place?
Dutch Brothers.
Dutch Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I think everybody is assigned a coffee place that they absolutely love.
Yeah, that just works for them.
That just works for them, because everybody's coffee tastes are so different. Speaking of, did you see our friend Tyler launched his coffee company?
I did.
Polestar.
Polestar. Why do I have no beans? Is what I want to know.
I just ordered some.
Oh, okay. I was looking for free beans, Nicole.
Well, no, we're supporting his small business.
I'm joking, you silly
If you want to support a small business, he's a veteran.
Buy my beans.
And he has a passion for coffee. Not Polestar electric cars, what?
Polestar coffee.
Polestar coffee.
Got to put the word coffee.
Coffee. I'll link. So he has, I think, 4... I like that coffee mug, but I don't think he sells it.
Well, last time he was here, we sat and had a good chat. I had a couple new beans we were trying, and we had a coffee chat and sampling the coffee. It was quite nice.
I think, hopefully, we can work with him to maybe have our own coffee.
Wood Whisper Beans?
Wood Whisper Beans.
Whisper Beans.
Whisper Beans.
Buy my beans.
So check out a small business. He just launched the site. He's an amazing guy and veteran. He's a vet. So you're definitely supporting an awesome person.
Yeah, speaking of that and backlog content, we had Rob Kosman from the Purple Heart Project. Yeah. We had him come out.
I made dovetails.
Nicole made dovetails. We got a whole video of that.
You haven't even seen that.
That's all just sitting there because we're stuck editing, a major guild course.
Everybody's like so upset about my comments on Tim Hortons.
Your Tim Hortons comment?
I knew I was going to rustle some feathers.
Here's the thing. Nicole has a very narrow window of what she considers good coffee.
It's Dunkin'.
I put one extra scoop in there, and she's like, oh, what happened? What happened to my coffee?
I'm very particular.
She's very inflexible. Whereas with me, I'll take anything from like the strongest brew. Like if I'm having my daily coffee, I'll drink what she drinks. It's fine. But you give me something real strong, even an espresso, I can enjoy that. I can enjoy coffee black. I don't want sugar. I don't do sugar anymore, so I don't want sugar. But I will take cream in my coffee. But Nicole, it's got to be. She likes a little bit of coffee with her cream and sugar. Is the way it goes with her.
But here's the thing.
Don't use her criticism as like...
No. Jesse says, saying it's like Starbucks could start an international war. I didn't say that. He said that.
I don't know.
He's never been to...
I've never been there.
He's never been to
What I'm saying about Starbucks is it's like it's not really a national treasure, but it's something like you go to America, you want to find a coffee place, there's a good chance you could find a Starbucks.
Yeah.
I get the impression Tim Hortons is like that. If you're in Canada and you need a coffee, there's probably a Tim Hortons. That was the analogy I was making, not flavor. Starbucks just serves mud water.
Yeah. So hey, it's top of the hour. Before we go, I would like to share with you something.
Some poetry that I wrote.
No. Something absolutely adorable. It's my daughter teaching you how to draw Oreo.
Are you going to link to the right account this time?
I'm linking to the video.
Remember when you didn't do that for Mateo?
I know.
So this is super cute. I helped her do a little bit of editing on it. We have to edit another one when we get back. Yeah. But she loves drawing on her. She used my iPad to do it.
Uses her iPad.
And she's drawing with her finger, and she's doing her best YouTuber thing. It's adorable. We approach that apprehensively and
no comments.
Very carefully control what she does because I don't totally love it, but she's intrigued by it.
She's creative, just like Mateo.
But the different thing is she wants to actually teach.
Yeah.
She's not just doing it to she wants to show other kids how to draw.
Yeah. And that's who she's talking to. She's talking to other little kids.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm using Flip-a-Clip, right?
Flip-a-Clip,
yeah. So it's adorable. It's only it's 10 minutes. I didn't realize it was so long.
It's lengthy.
It's a long one.
Let's just clear out the questions before we go.
Yeah.
Rapid fire.
Okay. Well, I thought I did.
No, I see questions I didn't answer. How often do you get commission work that you do videos on? Never. I hardly ever do commission work. I will build for friends and family. Very seldom am I taking money for the thing that I built. Mm-hmm. it's just not part of what we do. That said, if the right job came along and I could do some video work on it, I totally would do it. It just doesn't come my way because I'm not actually out there pursuing it.
Just, Gary, I didn't slight them. I just said they're fine. They're not, I mean, see, here's my problem. If I absolutely love them, I would be so upset that I didn't live in Canada.
Yeah.
So I had to you have to temper your...
No, you can't backtrack.
I'm going to backtrack.
You can't walk that one back. It's done.
It was fine. It was fine. I had it every morning when I was there. It was...
I'd like to try it.
Yeah.
I'd give it a shot.
You probably would love it.
Give me some of that Tim Hortons, baby.
All right. So that wraps up a show. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, you guys are fun.
Yeah.
I like you guys.
Today was a fun day. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right. So from here on out, things are going to be pretty crazy. We're not going to have a live show during the class
Next week, we will not have a live show.
So pay attention to the schedule. Is this on our calendar?
It is. It's on the calendar.
So it's thewoodwhisperer.com/calendar?
Yep.
Yeah, go check that out if you want to know when the shows are going to be on.
And you can integrate it into, if you really don't want to miss it, integrate it into your own Google Calendar.
Or better yet, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you click the notification bell.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, whenever we go live, you'll get an immediate notification that says the Wood Whisperer is live, and then you don't have to even think about it.
Yep. So
okay? Even if you're on the pooper, you get it. It's the best place to watch the show. Frankly, I wish I was on it right now, doing the show from the pooper. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. Bye.